Good evening. I'd like to call the July 6, 2022 Town of Cedar Lake Plan Commission work session to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to welcome our new member, Mr. Greg Parker.
He's like an old me, though.
Yeah, older, yeah.
I'm getting older all the time.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Carnahan?
Here.
Mr. Foreman?
Present.
Mr. Sharp?
Here.
Ms. Desbauer? Present. Mr. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Parker?
Here.
Mr. Kapora?
Present.
Mr. Oliphant is not currently present. Mr. Austin?
Present.
Mr. Flores?
Present.
Ms. Abernathy? Present.
Okay, old business. NYDY Development Corp. preliminary plat for a one-lot subdivision and site plan. Owner NYDY Development Corp. 1370 Dune Meadows Drive, Porter, Indiana. Vicinity of 9710 West 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a preliminary plat for a one-lot subdivision and site plan. This was deferred from June 15th. We have petitioner present.
Correct.
Okay, state your name and addresses, please.
Tony Piquet with Chester Incorporated, 555 East Port Center Drive, Valparaiso, Indiana.
David Lee, Nivy Development, 1370 Dune Meadows Drive, Porter, Indiana.
Okay. And you're looking for a preliminary plat for a one-lot subdivision.
You are correct. We're here for our project, which is approximately 5,400 square foot wood building that will be utilized for automotive repair. This has gone through the workshop 2 times previously. We just got our final review back from Don Oliphant based off of our last provided revision at our meeting, our Plan Commission meeting previously. There weren't a whole lot of concerns or issues, as the main concern that was discussed at the last meeting was our buffer between ourselves and the residents, which is an apartment complex behind us, which we have negotiated with the help of the Plan Commission and that owner, where it will be a fence, and we've agreed that that's not a problem for us to put that along there. It is an easement. We do know that there's quite a bit of utilities back there, and that was kind of our only hurdle along this path so far for getting this site plan approval.
So, Chris, I did, after you sent me the email, because originally I did speak with the owner of the apartment complex, and she kind of wanted to see a row of arborvitaes there, and so I, spoke with her, sent an email to Chris, but in the last meeting, I guess it was discussed that there was preferably with those utility easements there, that a fence go in, so I did call the homeowner after I got here, the owner, and spoke with her, and she's fine if we put a fence up.
That's on the north side?
Correct.
Were we doing some security or buffer zone on the west side too?
I believe there's already an existing vegetation on the west side.
There's a large amount of vegetation and trees.
Okay.
Our natural gas comes through there. We have utilities that it'd be very difficult for us to do. And it's only a 5-foot setback on that.
Building department have anything?
The big thing for us was the screening, just because of the utility easements on the north side, just not wanting to have a berm or arborvitae, anything that we need to, that will further hinder our ability to access our utilities. So a fence is preferred, and they've addressed that. Don, was there anything else in your review letter?
No, everything in the review letter is pretty minor. I think you covered everything. Yeah, the west screening's fine. It's just a private road anyway. So, and beyond the private road is another commercial property. So.
Okay. Commissioners?
Was this in front of the BZA before?
They have received 3 variances from the BZA, and they have one outstanding one that will be heard at the next BZA meeting this month,
Which is for what?
for lot size.
Yeah, that's my question also. Okay.
So the parking was accepted?
Yeah, parking in the front.
So it's just about the,
Yeah, because it's a B3 zone property with the new zoning ordinance that was adopted, the minimum square footage that's required for B3 zoning is 40,000 square feet. They're at 23 and some change, so that's what they're going in front of the BZA for, is to receive a variance, developmental variance for the lot size.
now is that for only for this business? If they sell it later on, was it revert back to, could it be the same, or?
It'll stay at B3 zoning, and the variance, it depends on if the building is abandoned for more than, I believe it's 6 months within our new zoning ordinance, that the variances would then go away, and any new purchaser would have to go through the BZA process. Or rezoning, depending on the use they're trying to use.
Mr. Chairman, my view hasn't changed. I mean, we have, granted, it is B3 zone, and I'm sure that your organization is going to keep it clean and do a nice job. It's in the heart of town. You know, I always worry about the next guy. You know, of course, we have a similar establishment there, but I just think that type of business should be in the industrial park. That's my own feelings, no offense against you guys. We're trying to clean up and make that whole strip nice, and it looks like you guys are going to put on a class act. But, thinking big picture, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, us giving variances for this type of establishment, I think, was the prerogative of the BZA, but I just felt as though, it should be 41 or an industrial zone since it's commercial. That's what a lot of the other communities are doing, but it is zone B3. If it goes through with all the variances, then it comes back before us. But I've kind of been saying that all along from that standpoint, but that's just my opinion.
Well, and I would like to add, we do, if you want to kind of see what it would look like, if you check out our business in Winfield, it's right near the intersection of 109th and Randolph, which is the main intersection in Winfield. It's one parcel away from that intersection.
Yeah.
We put a lot of money into that. We plan on putting a lot of money into this and keeping it up.
No, the renderings and the drawings you've done have been class act. But it's just my gut from that standpoint of, you got roll-offs bringing cars in and backing up in the 133rd and so on and so forth. That's my opinion on these types of businesses. We have some scattered throughout town, and their grandfather caused in, and they've been there. It's the big picture thinking that I would like to see something like this. Great looking place, I think it belongs on a 41 corridor, B3, even though it is B3, but it's not slam dunk because of variances that you guys have to apply for, but I've been kind of consistent with that, but it looks like you guys did a professional job without a doubt. That's all my 2 cents, Mr. Chairman.
I wasn't here for the zoning, man. Was that always B3?
That whole corner, Nagy's Automotive Scooter Shooters, this place has always been B3 zone, Greg. It's just one of those pockets of B3 in town that we have. Now, looking at the B3 uses, this is probably one of the lower issues, right?
Lower, less intense.
Less intense because it's an 8 to 5 business, if you will, but that's just my thoughts on it.
No, I don't disagree with you. I think from a planning perspective, and for what we've been trying to do here for the last several years, it doesn't seem like a great fit for that area. There's been a lot of work in cleaning that corridor up and getting buildings occupied over the years.
Well, most of your clientele will be driving their cars in to have
Yes,
freight jobs
you
or
will.
something like that done on it. Will you have a tow truck that will be hauling in cars from time to time?
You may see a tow truck from time to time, but there will never be, the cars are left inside the building overnight. You're not going to see cars sitting outside. Usually it's smaller jobs, so the cars are in and out with the day. If there is a bigger job where it does have to stay overnight, it gets pulled in. I know this was like a big concern when we worked with Winfield as well, and we have not had, we've been out in Winfield for almost 3 years. We've not had any issues. Keep the place clean, I invite any of you to take a look at it or bring it up. It may show up on Google Street View, I'm not sure if it does or not, but I would invite any of you to drive by there and take a look at it. I'd also be, I'd be willing to give you guys my personal phone number. If there was any problems going on, you could call me directly and I could, make sure that it was taken care of. I'm just, I've got a lot of money that would be going into this. I think I would want to see it maintained better than, anyone else. And I've worked with Marty now. Marty's, he's with MTI Service Center. I've worked with him since 2006. And, he runs a solid organization.
I'm just trying to bring it up to John's question of having flatbeds or car carriers and what have you there, but
That's not going to be where you're seeing the car carriers coming in day in, day out. Mostly it's minor jobs where the cars aren't getting transported by tow trucks.
You say it's a wooden structure, is that correct?
It'll be a traditionally built stick structure, correct, with brick exterior and siding.
Okay. Is there any reason for that? Is that you just consider that better?
It's reasonable for purchasing and acquiring right now.
Okay.
And overall, I did it for appearance sake, because originally I was debating on doing a metal post and beam, but I knew it was in your main corridor, so I wanted to make it look nice.
Okay.
It'll also add money to the TIP district too, to help RDC.
Any other questions,
Yes, sir.
comments? No?
No, sir.
Well, then I guess we're all set. See you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, the BZA is before the next meeting, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
New business, Beacon Point East. Beacon Point of Cedar Lake LLC, 6900 Wicker Avenue. Let's get a full of glasses. Vicinity of 900 West 141st Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting final plat for Beacon Point, Phase 4.
Good evening, Jack Slager with Schilling Development, representing Beacon Point of Cedar Lake. We are requesting final plat approval for Beacon East Unit 4. This will be the final phase of the Beacon East project. This is the north end of the project, the last piece, tying in all the existing roads that have been stubbed up. It will contain 77 units, some the duplexes along the tracks, and the rest are cottage homes. And they've been working on the infrastructure out there for the last several months. I was informed today that all the sewer and water have been tested and passed. They'll be starting to install the roads next week, so we'll be back in 2 weeks requesting final plat approval for that final piece.
The sidewalk, I don't know if it's part of this phase or not, but the sidewalk going across the railroad tracks, is that what phase, is that in this?
They are accountable for that.
Yeah, we were only allowed to come up to the tracks on each side to stop. We're not allowed to go across.
Well, I was getting to, I know this train, the railroad, but are they gonna do that?
Yes, I think there was some agreement when we did it that they would cooperate to get it done. But CSX should take it if there's a sidewalk on either side of it, they're supposed to connect it. It's just a matter of getting them to do it.
Okay.
And cross gates, Jill's been hounding them for 5 years or more, and we still have no cross gates, which is mind-boggling, especially with the tragedy that has occurred there.
Yeah.
I would say it takes an act of Congress, but they literally don't answer to Congress.
Yeah, you're right. And our former chief of police, Dave Colson, tried to get those gates put in there. So I don't know if Billy's working on it or not.
So Jack, this is the last section to the east of One Coops, right?
Well, this would be way to the north.
Oh,
way
very
to the
north.
north. Yeah, we've already done the piece to the east. We just recently replaced the sidewalk in front of his house. That needs to be graded yet. there's still some work up front, that needs to be done. We're waiting on NIPSCO to move the poles out of the road, which
Gotcha.
is typical. It takes them anywhere from 6 months to a year, but, yeah, so all the front is done. This is the last piece on the far
So
north
that's
end.
basically up north.
Yeah.
About 25 acres.
Do you have anything done?
No, like Jack said, we're working through some of the infrastructure stuff that'll set the letter of credit value that we'll recommend, and we've got some work to do in the next,
We'll get that worked out in the next couple days.
yeah.
Building department? Nothing? Commissioners?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So the letter of credit will be set by, in 2 weeks?
Yeah, we have an overall pretty much established, just a matter of when we get installed, inspected, asphalted, and by 2 weeks.
Okay, so we're all set to go then?
Sounds like it.
Good, okay. Thanks, Jack. So you're not leaving, are you?
Nope.
Different poster boards.
Jack Slager. You need a series of hats, that's right. New business number 2, extension of preliminary plat. Owner Cedar Lake, 133 LLC, 8900 Wicker Avenue, St. John. Vicinity of 5711 West 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a 12-month extension of the existing preliminary plat that is to expire on September 18th, 2022 to September 18th, 2023 for Lakeside Unit 2.
Good evening, Jack Slager with Schilling Development, representing Cedar Lake 133. So, as a little bit of history, Lakeside was originally started in 2017 and 2018. We put the first phases in, of 54 lots. I believe the last lot was built on this year. We came in 2019 with Unit 2, which was the entire south portion of the property. That was approved at that time, and we were stalled due to the lack of water supply. We've been waiting for improvements to the water system, which have been, obviously, you guys have been working on over the last few years. I was in here last year with the same request, and I felt like we were really close. I feel like we're even closer this year to getting the water supply finished. I can tell you I get probably one call a week from people wanting to move into Lakeside or build in Lakeside, and so we keep telling them it's coming, there's more coming soon. So I'm hopeful that this will be the final time I'll ask for an extension and we can get this back on track.
And I will say that they did do test wells over there trying to get water themselves. They did that on their own. And it had plenty of capacity, but the water quality wasn't that good. And the town has purchased the Lighthouse well, and I asked Nice Engineering if they started that. They haven't started it yet, but they're gonna run across from the Cedar Lake Clinic on over to Lakeside and Robin's Nest.
Yep.
And then we're gonna have a water tower in Crystal Oaks.
And from what I've read, I believe you guys have actually awarded the bids for that work. It's
Correct.
Yes.
So it's off and running.
So it's closer than last year.
Very, very close. I'm hopeful.
So we approved 200 homes there, but they could only build the 54. Once they get the water, they can do the other 146.
It's a race against interest rates.
Well, yeah.
Sorry about
There's
that.
that, unfortunately, but I think the demand
There
will still be there.
still seems to be a demand.
I hope so.
Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would like to move it along.
Yeah, absolutely. As would we.
So we're a little early. I think last time we came in August, or September of last year. I just wanted to make sure, since I was gonna be here anyway, I wanted to make sure we got on the agenda and, ask for a one-year extension.
Okay, any other questions? Anybody? Comments?
No, sir.
No.
I'll be back in 2 weeks.
Okay, Jack.
Thank you much.
Yeah.
Thanks. Are you done?
I'm done.
Number 3, 141 Partners LLC, preliminary plat for a one-lot subdivision and site plan. Owner Mike Bauer, 8913 West 142nd Place, Cedar Lake. vicinity of 10702 West 141st Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a preliminary plat for one lot subdivision and site plan.
Russ Colton with DVG Team Inc., 155 Trotwood Road. I'm here with the owner, Mike Neubauer.
Mike Neubauer, 2802 East 139th Avenue, Crown Point.
The packet you have is just some, drawings that we have that are current, and actually you've probably seen some of this before. We've been in front of you for quite some time, whether it was for the BZA variance or some of the other various study sessions. The site has not changed. The number of buildings has not changed. The renderings have not changed. Really the biggest, difference between previous, discussions and us being in front of you is just that, we submitted the real engineering. So currently, Don's reviewing or has reviewed the engineering and the plat. He's given us comments. We're actually addressing those comments now. We should hopefully get the responses and updates back to Don, hopefully by the end of this week, which, we're hoping that we can get everything reviewed and approved from Don's perspective, with a week turnaround, in preparation for the actual public meeting. So that's kind of the status from our end. Obviously it's a work in progress and moving forward. Again, to reiterate, the product has not changed, and we're excited to kind of bring this to Cedar Lake. Obviously, the renderings and the use will be, I think, hopefully well received in this area. And again, any updated questions, comments, we'll address them.
Don, you got anything?
Like Russ said, if we have a letter out, they plan on getting stuff back as soon as they can, and we'll turn around as soon as we can. The only biggest thing that I saw from the rendering was the chain link fence. Is that on purpose, or?
Yeah, and this could be just whether it's me bouncing back from the old ordinance to the new ordinance. I thought adjacent to a non-residential, which was on the west, we could use chain link. I have to, dive into the ordinance myself and see if that's the case for, and this is a B2 that we got to rezone to.
I didn't think it was allowed in any zoning ordinance, in any zoning district.
I don't think, I'll have to double check, I think you're correct.
Yeah.
So that is, again, that's something that I wanted to re-review myself. I can't find it, then it doesn't exist.
I think you guys are correct, but my question is, did Hanover Central get the chain link fence due to the fact that it was a PUD?
Probably.
I can't remember.
And under the old ordinance.
Yeah.
Well, technically we're under the old ordinance.
That's even in the old ordinance, I thought, but I don't recall how the Hanover project went, because that's brand new, and it's all chain link. Now granted, it's a baseball diamond in a football field, and it's pretty common.
You have an application date of May 20th. May 20th.
Yeah, that's an ordinance.
New ordinance. At least that's what the notary date is. I assume that was the application date.
Okay. So, I mean, we're, since we didn't go after a variance, we,
Hear what it is. And you would want the fence, right? You don't want people sneaking in your storage units along that roadway on the railroad track.
I mean, it sucks to spend a ton more money to put a nice fancy fence next to a railroad and a bunch of overgrown bushes, but...
Well, and solid fences don't let air through.
Yeah.
So therefore, you've got that west wind just pounding on the forces of the wind, but...
yeah. I mean, that's the thing too, is, well, let's see, I mean, if that's what the ordinance says, I mean, I don't know how it all works as far as like reapplying for a variance or something like that, but for just that one side to be hidden by all the nice buildings, I mean, it really, you wouldn't even see it really from the road, because they just come across the tracks with all overgrown brush on the track.
Did you go to the BZA for anything on this project, or no?
What do we do, special?
it was special exception.
And you've already done that.
We already did that.
Yeah, in hindsight, asking for that chain link then would have been the thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and I blame myself, that was one of those where old ordinance, new ordinance, a little bit of,
Right.
didn't go after it like we should have.
You advertised the public hearing?
I believe we believe we have, I have to double check. I have somebody in my office who handles that, been on top of it for me.
6-foot chain link, is that what it is?
That's what we're
Okay.
stating on the west.
I think
The
the front,
6-foot chain
the front's
link.
still decorative to a point, right?
What's that?
The front fence was still
The
decorative?
front fence is decorative and the east fence is the opaque because that is against the residential.
Yeah.
So we're fully aware that we cannot,
Okay.
change that. You know, that was, we knew we had to do that. It's just the west side and the south side, which, you know, abuts the railroad is what we assumed for ordinance that we could have made the chain link.
It's a perfect fit for that property.
Yeah, I think.
A beautiful look.
Yeah, it's very well.
Yeah, the style, I think, fits in the neighborhood, and, you know, this is a residential subdivision right next to it is, you know, more of the smaller units that I think could use storage, so I think our client has definitely picked the right spot.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were trying to make it work, you know, we went over the engineer comments, fence stuff, I mean, trying to make it work with pricing, you know, interest rates have gone up since we first started, it's like
Yeah.
3%, so, you know,
Yeah.
everything's like, numbers keep climbing, and it's like, at some point, if numbers get too high, it's like, all right, that's it, you know, so we're just trying to make sure we do the best we can to make it justifiable, you know.
So they're gonna need to, resubmit the fence on the west and south side?
If they want to.
If we want to, you know.
It falls in their court.
Correct, we either,
But that's something too, could we, you know, we could do all this process, right? And then before, I mean, it's not like we're building, you know, in a month, so that's something that we would have time to request again if that was something before we ever, I mean, the fence isn't going up, you know, next month, so that would give us time.
From a legal perspective, have we had folks do that?
Yeah.
Kick off a project and then come back and do a variance for something else?
Like, get it approved without chain link, you know, with whatever, and then before we put up a fence, come and ask if we
Ask
get
for chain link.
chain link on that side.
But you have to go through the BZA and
correct.
Yeah.
you have to advertise and everything for that.
Yeah.
That's an option that we can take, as long as this board doesn't,
But then there's no guarantee the BZA will pass it.
of course, there's no guarantee of anything, right?
Right.
But it wouldn't come back to us after that. It would be like a homeowner getting a variance for oversized garage or something.
Building department have anything?
I'm just looking at the ordinance right now.
No, we're just checking on the fences.
Okay. Take your time, we don't wanna get out of here till we're...
We're on a roll, we don't wanna mess up our consistency of being here all night.
That's right. I get the 3-hour window.
Yeah.
You never know.
So I think we appreciate the discussion of, you know, just meeting ordinance and then behind the scenes, if we have a different option, then address that.
Jake, do you know, what's the underlying zoning district for Hanover? That's residential?
No, it's PUD.
It's a PUD. Hanover PUD.
It's just PUD zoning.
It doesn't reference the underlying R2 or anything like MacArthur did?
That came in by annexation, right?
Well, it came in following the annexation, and it came in ag.
Oh, yeah, so it went to ag to PV.
I was referring to 133rd Hanover, not US 41 Hanover, Chris.
No, they were looking up, they were asking the question, I think.
Yeah, I'm asking, just because in our zoning district here, it says that if it was to abut a residential, that there has to be, you know, opaque fence screening.
The west side is not abutted, residential.
Yeah, that, I was just.
That's the PUD.
I know,
West side's the
but-
railroad technically, which doesn't really have a zoning classification, I don't think.
Sorry, say
So the
that?
west side would technically be the railroad,
Yeah.
not Hanover.
Correct.
It doesn't really have a zoning classification.
Yeah.
So, I'll have to complicate it more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm glad to hear that this is a little bit of a, kind of a question for you guys, because that's kind of why I thought we were okay. No, I don't feel so bad. Doesn't get me approved, but
You'll get over that, Russ.
I know it will.
I might not, but you.
Yeah, you will.
Commissioners have any questions or comments?
Nope.
No, I appreciate the comments, I appreciate it.
So all we do next week is figure out the fence and, possibly approve it and, they'll deal with the fence down the road, right?
Again.
Is that what we're saying?
Well, if we approve it, we will approve it the way it is, with an opaque fence, et cetera, unless the building department finds something.
Oh, okay, and then
to the
if they
difference.
wanna go to
Later on during
chain
the summer,
link,
they can
then
go
they'll
to
come to
the.
the BCS.
You have to follow the ordinance, so they have to follow.
Have to follow the order, that's right.
But right now, where we're standing, right, it's potential that the ordinance does not state that no chain link, we're still kind of in a gray.
They're gonna verify.
We'll
Okay.
verify that.
The current problem is the fact that there's not residential to the west and there's not commercial.
Yeah, it's not residential,
So it's not classic.
it's railroad
Yeah.
track.
So that might be a loophole for you, it may not.
That's what I'm wondering.
So do they have to show that on the plan then?
Let us look at it first and
I-
let them know what to show. If it doesn't classify, then it has to be shown as opaque, and then they have to go for a variance.
Well, I mean, in 2 weeks, does that have to be on the plan? Or,
We'll have an answer. We'll get an answer.
We'll get an answer. I think a part of our, submittal back to Don and to the town manager is to get that ordinance addressed in our understanding and edit the plans accordingly. So they will be reviewing a plan set that meets ordinance. Whatever the ordinance says, we're meeting ordinance to get this approved. And then it'll be up to us to decide if later on if we have to go after it.
I just don't want you to come in 2 weeks and not have, this is something with a plan and then
No.
there's a problem.
I think our intent is to make sure that whatever we change or modify is meeting ordinance.
Okay, sounds good to me. No other questions, comments?
Appreciate the discussion.
No, see you in 2 weeks. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Did you want your drawing packets back, Russ?
You can keep that thrown away if you want. Recycle.
Okay, update items. Building regulations and fee amendments.
We're currently going through that process. We're undergoing more or less a study and analysis of our current building department fees and regulations. More so the fees right now. And I expect to have that done before the end of this year, sooner than later.
Okay. Number 2, Larson, Danielson, People's Bank, performance letter of credit expires August 9th, 2022.
I got that one. So, excuse my tardiness, I was actually running out to the site to see where they were at. They've kind of been doing a lot of stuff over the last week. They have a majority of it done. I think they have all the sidewalk in, the entrance, everything in the public right away, I think is done except landscaping and seating and whatnot. It's kind of just a dirty mess out there right now. So that may actually be tied to the building permit, so we may be able to roll this into maintenance, a little bit better idea at the next meeting.
Okay. Number 3, Rose Garden Estates, Unit 3, performance letter of credit expires August 22nd, 2022.
We'll take 3 and 6 together, so that's Units 1 and Unit 3 of Rose Garden. It's been well over a year since we did our last inspection of Unit 1, so we're gonna have to re-inspect it. So we're just gonna re-inspect the entire subdivision at this point. I think it's their intent, based on how quickly they're building out, that they're just gonna surface the entire thing at once. But they have a lot of repairs to do before they get to that stage, so, we may see a reduction in it, but based on their path, they'll likely just come in for full freight, renewal. But we'll be talking to some of their staff in the next month, and see where they're at and see what they wanna do. Cause they're both, all the units are they're big, they're not small units.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got poor quality on the sidewalks.
We got a whole lot of poor quality issues, not only on
Yeah.
sidewalks.
So if they don't fix them, we'll end up pulling the bond and doing it ourselves.
Yeah, we have well north of, I think, 8 million between all 3 units still. Those are full freight, they haven't reduced at all. So, I hope as we get through the summer, this will kind of work itself out, but we got a lot of work to kind of get to where we need to get.
It seems like they still got stuff from the first phase, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Like they've been procrastinating.
Yeah, and at this point, I wouldn't be in favor of them paving that, you might as well pave it all at once. I mean, they're moving that quickly.
Yeah.
So, they have a lot of stuff that they've kind of neglected, that needs to be repaired before they can get to surfacing, so.
You're gonna be spending lots of hours in that subdivision.
It's a lot. I mean, if you remember our Unit 1 original inspection list was over 100 items,
Yeah, right.
which it was impressive.
Maybe more than that.
Yeah, and adding Units 2 and Unit 3 into that, it's gonna be a lot of work.
Clear your leak.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while.
One.
Yeah. So, yeah, all those will kind of be handled together.
Okay. Number 4, Great Oak Storage Lot 1. Maintenance letter of credit expires September 4th, 2022.
I reminded Public Works again, that is only the water main extension, essentially the line that comes off the line that's behind the gym, and then that kind of feeds into their property. So really, Public Works needs to get out there and look at it, make sure it's good, and if it's good, it'll expire. So they said they would get into it probably the next week or two. So we should have enough time.
Number 5, Birchwood Phase 1, performance letter of credit expires October 5th, 2022.
This one's pretty far along as well. I believe the only thing they have left is the paving of Unit 1, or Phase 1. So, and I know Jeff Yatko from Old Top said they're gonna do that relatively quick. That doesn't expire until October, so we got some time. That'll likely be rotated into maintenance sometime this summer, would be my guess.
Okay. And number 7, Offshore Estate, performance letter of credit expires October 30th, 2022.
So this is Dave Carey's little 8-unit, 9-unit cul-de-sac off 136. I think he's got probably 3 or 4 lots built, so he's getting close to 80%. With the subdivision being so small, I would actually recommend a waiver for him to get it paved this year. There's no sense in extending this out with how little homes are there. We have an 80% threshold, but it's also when we have a much larger unit, and he's doing one lot at a time. I would much rather just have him pave it and rotate it, but we can talk to him about that. Again, that doesn't expire until October 30th.
And then we would plow it in the winter?
Yeah, we would plow it in the winter.
Okay.
So you'd be putting the final
Coat on, just to
top.
protect it, yeah. I mean, he had sold some of the lots to, you know, I think a family member, and they're kind of fighting over a bunch of stuff over there right now. So, it's a fun one. So, but yeah, I think you've got 4 of the 9 built, so he's close.
Okay. Public comments. Don't everybody rush up here at once.
You know,
Yeah, Chuck?
Welcome, Greg, to the team.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thanks. Welcome back, part of it.
I don't know what happened with Jerry and don't like what happened. We didn't know anything, but, you know, he's a fellow, member of the team. He'll be missed, but welcome to the team.
Thanks.
He's a Cub fan though, Chuck.
I'm a Chicago fan.
Nobody really means that.
The most that Cubs lose is when they play the Sox.
We can fight about that later.
They both won today.
I'm gonna make a suggestion to some of these guys that are trying to build subdivisions here, to get over there to Illinois and campaign for J.B. Pritzker. The interest rates won't matter,
Yeah, that's right.
they'll keep coming.
With the conversations I've been having with some of our local developers and the multiple petitions for annexations that have hit the town council just the last few months, we're not slowing down. Thank you, J.B. Pritzker, for being Indiana's best salesperson.
Yeah, right.
And there again, we tried to annex down 41 to 173rd, and that, we lost that. But now we're getting people that are buying up that property and they're coming in here voluntarily being annexed into the town.
They would have annexed before, they would have had to pay more for that property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, you're gonna have to explain it to her when you get home now.
Oh, my God.
I'm just saying.
Anybody wanna go to the White House?
Is that a motion?
No, this is the work session, can't make a motion.
I'll let to adjourn.
Yeah. All right, that's it? All right, then I'll call this meeting adjourned at 20 minutes, whatever, 8.